Well, hello, and welcome to my latest video. Change of tone, change of pace, change of topic, change of pants. Actually, no change of pants for 2023. I thought, you may have seen in my last couple of videos, I've said I haven't done many videos for a little while, and there was a couple of reasons for that. And what I thought I'd do is a video about one of the reasons for why I haven't made a video for a while. And this is going to start, I think, a new series of videos, which I hope you will enjoy, although they're not really about cycling. They are about health. Yes, as you know, I am a man of 66, and as it comes to us all in a certain stage of our life, I have experienced some health problems lately, and I thought, because there isn't really enough spoken about men's health on YouTube and other places, that I ought to document some of the issues that I've faced and some of the consequences of it, which are not, I should say to you, concluded yet, and hence the reason for the series of videos. So let's backtrack a little bit. A few weeks ago, months, maybe a little bit more, I found a lump above my belly button, and being a fairly knowledgeable person, I thought this is probably a hernia. So I spoke to a few friends who'd also had similar things, and I went to see the doctor, and the doctor said, yes, you've got a hernia. Now, while I was there, I said, you know, one of the things I probably should have done when I turned 65 or 60 or whatever it is go through one of those well-man medicals, which I didn't do. And the doctor said, okay, well, while you're here, I'll check your blood pressure, which she did, which was a little bit high, but that's not really an issue. But she said, I want you to go for a blood test. So I went for a blood test a few days later, and I got the results, and the doctor contacted me and said, your PSA levels are a little bit high. Now, PSA, for those of you who don't know, stands for prostate specific antigens. And what it means essentially is the prostate gland, which men have, and I don't think women have, is very much connected to, well, let's say the prostate gland can be susceptible to cancer. So a PSA level that is raised might be an indication of prostate cancer. It might not, might be an indication of something else. So the doctor said, okay, your levels are a little bit above where they should be. So the next step is we want you to go for an MRI scan. So he sent me for an MRI scan, and for those of you who don't know, MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging, I think. And it's quite interesting, actually. You lie on a kind of trolley and you're strapped down. Now, if you've ever seen, well, you wouldn't have seen it in real life or real death, actually, but you see it on the telly and things like that, documentaries, where American wicked people are being executed by lethal injection. They are put onto this kind of trolley and they are strapped down. Anyway, I was on a trolley, I was strapped down, I was waiting for my lethal injection, but luckily I hadn't done anything so wicked to result in that. But you're pushed into a kind of thing. Now, the other thing it reminds me of, and if you've ever been to a funeral or a cremation, you'll know when the priest or whoever it is and people have finished all their boring speeches and so forth, and the trolley kind of moves and the coffin kind of moves and it disappears into this gaping hole where presumably it is then cremated. So you're on this trolley, right? You're strapped in, you're expecting a lethal injection, the trolley starts to move and you think, oh, now I know what cremation is like. But no, what happens is you go into a kind of enclosed space, a bit like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, only they don't drop rats and cockroaches and snakes and so forth on you. That comes a bit later. And while you're in there for quite a while actually, they do give you some headphones so you can listen to music. I said I wanted to listen to LBC because it calms me down, as you can imagine, especially if I'm listening to somebody like Nick Ferrari. So you're in there, right? You're strapped down, not a lethal injection, you've got your headphones on, you're listening to Nick Ferrari, and they take a series of photographs. Well, I think it's photographs, a bit like x-rays, I'm not quite sure how it works, and that is of your innards. Okay, so it's this bit here, your prostate is, actually I don't know where your prostate is, it's somewhere below your belly button, but somewhere above your arse, but we'll get to that later, maybe in part 2. So you have your MRI scan and then you wait for the results, and it might take you a couple of weeks or so to get the results, and then the doctor contacts you and says, not quite happy with what we see on the MRI scan. And then that takes you on to part 2 of the video, which is called a prostate biopsy. Now, before I get on to part 2, and part 2 is going to be a different video, I want to say that this process where you are suspected of cancer in the United Kingdom, I'm afraid I don't know what the situation is in other countries, but I imagine it's pretty similar. It's called a pathway, and it's called a 2-week pathway. And my understanding is if you are suspected that you might have a form of cancer, then this 2-week pathway, basically, if you can imagine getting on a train, and let's say you're on a train and you're going to Brighton, or if you live in Brighton, you're on a train and you're going to London, and it's not a fast train. No, it's not a fast train. It is a stopping train. So there are a number of stops on the way. So my first stop, having got on the train, heading from London to Brighton, was, let's say, at East Croydon, and that's where I went to see the doctor, and the doctor then sent me for the blood test, and then sent me for the MRI scan, and then the next thing after that is the biopsy, which is what the subject of the next video is going to be. So that's called a 2-week cancer pathway. And the other thing I want to say is there's a lot of comment about the health service, and the health service does have a number of issues and a number of problems, but this isn't one of these kind of political broadcasts. I'll probably do that in the next video. But I do want to say, and I think it's important that we all remember this, that there are hundreds and thousands of people every day receiving excellent service from the health service. The fact that there are problems around the edges, the fact that there are major problems in A&E, the fact that there are major problems in ambulance waiting times and so on and so forth, the fact that there is a massive backlog in operations, etc., etc. All of those things, yes, let's not pretend they don't exist, but let's also not pretend that many, many, many thousands of people every day are getting excellent service from the NHS. And I do want to say, incidentally, that I have had so far excellent, truly excellent service from the NHS. Everything has happened in, well, as far as I can see, appropriate timescales. The contact has been good. All of the staff have been friendly. All of the staff have been unfailingly helpful, etc., etc. It's all those things that in many ways we take for granted, but we shouldn't. It is a service that we pay large amounts of money for, although we don't pay the staff enough money when they do it. So that's that point. The other point that I wanted to say, and this is, I suppose, in relation to health and men, and it applies equally to women of a certain age. I would not have discovered my raised PSA levels if I had not gone to the doctor about my hernia. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that all of you 66-year-old men should trot off to the doctor and say, I want a PSA test because Julian got one. No, but it does mean that if there is an issue that you think might be addressed, don't start thinking, oh, well, it's just a function of getting old. Now, one of the things about being 66 amongst the men and they will all of you men out there of a certain age will know this. You get up quite a lot of times in the night to go to the toilet, and the flow of your urine is not necessarily as fast as it used to be. It's not necessarily as strong as it used to be. There's perhaps a little bit of stopping and starting. There's perhaps a little bit of dribbling, and you think, oh well, it's because I'm getting old. Well, not necessarily. It might be because there is an issue, and an issue that needs to be addressed. So if you are in that situation and you think that your urine at night is worse than it should be, worse than it could be, worse than it used to be, don't put it down to old age. Do something about it. Go and see your doctor. Get yourself checked out. Well, that's the end of part 1 of Julian's health journey. Make sure you tune in to part 2, because there we are delving deeper into the dark arts of Hagrid's Harry Potter tunnel vision and the process that happens when you go for a biopsy on your prostate gland. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.